Hey there, everyone. Mathew Heggem here, founder and CEO of 10kcreators.com. I am recording this video today because I am planning a workshop. Right now, the topic of the workshop is regenerative finances in the arts. And the questions I have are around really what kinds of conversations we need to be having in the arts to shift ourselves from this focus on sustainability to this focus on regenerative and healing practices, specifically around finances. My background is that of a professional artist. I've been a dancer and choreographer for 18 some odd years now, and have been blessed, frankly, to be able to have a successful performing arts career. But it wasn't always easy, right? I mean, the truth is that at sort of the peak of my work as an artist, as a dancer, at least up to this point, I should say, was in New York, and I was sort of, quote, at the top of my game. But the truth is I was also a starving artist, and I sort of exhibited all of the characteristics and the traits of someone who, was successful at being a starving artist. I since then have experienced a lot of other things, and one of the things that occurred along the way was that I had an opportunity to go into the world of accounting and learn a lot about how people interact with money from a business perspective and subsequently from a personal perspective, because those things kind of go hand in hand, which I think PS is one of the problems with the conversation around finances, is we kind of separate the business and the personal, when the truth is they're very deeply integrated. Nonetheless, I think I spent the last year working with a group of artists, independent artists, helping them to improve how they make and manage money, and subsequently started working with arts organizations as well. And now I'm at the point where I'm really trying to figure out how can I help more people sort of navigate these conversations around improving their financial well-being. And so what I want to do with this workshop is organize a session that offers practical advice, includes breakout rooms, possibly even with experts in the areas of tax, credit, banking, investment strategy, insurance, etc., to really sort of help people figure out, like, how do we actually shift this conversation and this dynamic? And there's sort of levels to that, right? I think one of the truths is that this is very much a personal journey. Everybody is in their own place in terms of where they're at with their money and the work that they need to do around their mindset, their beliefs, their practices. But also there's sort of circumstances, right? The truth is that if you're working in the arts, and particularly if you're sort of employed by a nonprofit organization, there are limitations to the financial resources that are being provided to those nonprofits, which in essence then translates to limited resources for the individuals who work at those nonprofits. So you kind of get stuck in that system. But then subsequently, the sort of alternatives to that, if you're an independent artist, self-producing independent artist, it's like there's almost a lack of resources for you. You don't qualify for the grant if you don't have the 501c3, but if you have the 501c3, you have the burden of having to do it kind of that traditional way, notwithstanding that there's compliance requirements and all that other stuff with that. But then also, if you choose to live outside of that system, right, which I did for a while, it's the same thing in that it's difficult to find resources that will support you and help you to sort of scale up your creative practices. And it is possible. It definitely is possible. But I think what it requires is, a sort of a different way of working and really a different relationship to money and finances and business and entrepreneurship that, frankly, a lot of artists haven't even been exposed to, particularly because when you take it to the systemic level, educational institutions aren't teaching us the things we need to know. Whether you're an artist or not, for example, I know that I had to learn the hard way about my personal finances after having graduated from college, what that really meant for me. But the truth is all that stuff should have been provided to me earlier. But also, like, in the context of our culture, right? You look at the banking system, you look at the credit system, you look at, really, frankly, our government, the tax system. It's all designed and, in essence, rigged to not benefit a large number of people. And so also what we're looking at here is an issue around systemic racism and systemic oppression and financial inequalities that are embedded inside of the systems that are actually supposed to be supporting us. And so then here we are as artists just trying, frankly, to pay our bills. And, I've seen it happen where artists get sort of confronted with, okay, do I record this income or do I not record this income? Because if I record this income, then I don't qualify for government support. And if I don't qualify for government support, then I can't eat. And so, but if I record that income, I can't eat either way at all in that example either. And so you kind of get stuck in this, well, damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, which is horribly painful, to be frank, and quite prolific in my view, or in my opinion. It's a systemic problem that's just unfair, unjust, and it has everything to do with systems of oppression. And so I think the thing that we have to do, and the thing that I'm interested in offering in this workshop, is a framework for beginning to unravel, unpack, unwind, reset, and reorient to a new future. And I go back to what I said earlier about the sort of distinction between sustainable versus regenerative. I think there is absolutely nothing wrong with the concept of sustainability, in that, yes, we want certain things to be maintained, but there are actually other things that need to not be maintained. And then there are also ways of being or functioning in the world that actually allow for life to thrive and life to grow. And so I put that out there because I think that there's, like, thinking about regenerative accounting practices, for example, is an opportunity that we have to reconsider how we relate to our financial lives, where in essence we aim to prioritize people and planet over profit, and to make that jump into this sort of new way of being is really what I'm interested in and what 10K Creators is all about. So that's what I'm working on in this workshop. My goal is to produce this workshop so that people can attend it in February. I am hoping to attract both, and really, frankly, any arts leader that is interested in this conversation, because there's so much work to do and so much opportunity to be had, whether you are a funder or of the arts, running a foundation, whether you're an arts council that serves an artistic community, whether you're the leader of an arts organization, nonprofit or otherwise, or even independent artists. My goal is to really be able to serve a framework that is accessible to this sort of broad audience, so that we can begin to sort of spread this conversation and spread this way of being out. So I am curious if you are one of those categories. What are you what would you be hoping to get from a workshop like this? What kind of an experience are you looking for? Because I want to make sure that this is something that you can actually do something with right away. And granted, with the systemic issues, some of those things, all of those things, frankly, will take time and effort and community action to address. And there are things that you can do on an individual level that can begin to make a difference, to chip away at these systems of oppression. And so, so let me know what your thoughts are. I'm super curious. I'm considering it as a 3-hour experience. Again, I'd love to do the breakout rooms. I'd love to figure out a way to maybe bring in some experts in certain topics. But I'm curious, what your thoughts are. So anyway, so that's my video du jour. I'm putting that out into the universe. I'm fingers crossed hoping that somebody responds to this and says, hey, that's a really interesting topic, and here's an idea, and here's what I would like to learn from that. And it's going to be a sliding scale experience. I want it to be accessible to anybody, frankly. So whether you can pay $0 or you can pay $100, I don't want any of that to prevent people from accessing the information. And also for me, that's like shifting into how do we relate to transacting with each other as a community and supporting our needs? Because we all need to get paid to do our things and to pay our bills and to keep moving forward, but doing it in a way that is conducive to all of our well-being, creating a sort of win-win dynamic. So anyways, okay, that's all I've got for now. Hopefully you're curious at least, and if you have any questions or comments or curiosities, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear. All right, thank you all. Bye.